The Super Speedway Podcast is a Dream Bigger media production. For news, photos, show notes, and information about advertising on the podcast, visit www.thesuperspeedway.com.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 119 of the Super Speedway Podcast, recorded Tuesday, July 30th, 2019. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, we went a little generic tonight. No big intro, but how's it going tonight?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Busy as ever, but I'm here.
Yeah, me too. We got it. We got it in on Tuesday. We got summer's, I hate to say it, summer's winding down.
Oh my God, don't even tell me about it. Jeez.
I know. So we're trying to, keep the Tuesday train rolling while we still can.
There you go. We had the Gander RV 400 this weekend at Pocono Raceway. Or actually, it's Pocono International Raceway, isn't it? I think
it is, yeah. I think you got the I in there, yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, Denny Hamlin gets the win. You've gotten the notes. He gets some revenge. Gets a win after giving it up to Harvick last week. I don't buy into that whole revenge thing this week. I don't really think. I don't know. I don't know.
He was good. He got the win.
He got the win.
He was so close last week, and he came back and fired it back up and got that W.
I wasn't even thinking about this one. Like Kurt pitting at Daytona and losing the race and then coming back and winning at Kentucky. I think it's just the whole thing is just Hamlin's already got wins this year, so the whole revenge thing, I just the storyline doesn't work for me when he's got wins already. So
yeah, I agree with you there. He's well, my question for you then is, what do you think of Denny Hamlin as a championship contender? Is he a 1A guy right now?
Well, here's the thing, and that's it's funny that you mentioned this because I wanted to talk about this a little bit too, and we'll delve right into it off of this. So first of all, I want Denny Hamlin to win the championship because I don't want Denny Hamlin to be another Mark Martin. Because currently I think Denny Hamlin is a Mark Martin. He is probably
Carl Edwards type.
Yeah, he's at least the best active driver that doesn't have a championship. Most deserving active driver that doesn't have a championship. Put him up against Carl Edwards. Carl probably, I'd say, deserves a championship more than Denny does. But yeah, I'd like to see him win the championship. Will he? I don't know.
I don't know,
man. Okay, so here's the deal. Here's my question. I was listening to Sirius today a little bit and caught the tail end of it. They were talking about where Denny Hamlin ranks as far as overall. So they were talking about Denny kind of being in third place right now. Is he third best in the series? And somebody said, well, he may only be third best on his current team.
That's right.
So let's have a little fun with this. Let's rank the JGR drivers. Where do we? I think I would assume we both agree that Kyle Busch is the top of the heap at JGR.
Kyle Busch
right?
is yep. Kyle Busch is the is he the championship favorite overall in the series? I'd say probably yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So then yeah, he's number one on JGR. That's for sure.
So who's number two at JGR? Is it Denny?
I got Denny. Well, boy.
Is it Denny or Truex, man?
The problem is you go to Homestead, and I like Truex. Well, Hamlin's good there too.
Let's just say overall. Let's not talk championship. Let's say overall. Who is? And I'm not talking wins. I'm talking about future potential, current standing, all of that. And so this is very subjective because you could very easily say Eric Jones has the potential, even though he doesn't have the wins that these guys.
Eric Jones is on a roll, by the way.
I know.
Watch out.
I know.
We've been preaching the Eric Jones Bible here the last few weeks.
Yep.
But, I say Truex is second, and my reasoning is the only reason is he's done it.
Yeah,
he's won the championship, and he's got basically the same team, just in a different car number.
That's a good point. Yeah, I didn't really consider that. I don't disagree with you. I think Denny is on. He don't get me wrong. He's winning right now. He is a championship favorite. I will say he is a championship favorite. Is he the favorite? No. Is he in the conversation for the Final Four? Definitely.
Would you be surprised if he won it?
Not a bit. Not a bit.
He's right there.
Not a bit.
Right there. Any
other system, I'd say yes, because Kyle's so good. But because of the system we have and going into Homestead and it's anybody's race, yeah, Denny's definitely got a shot. He's got just as good a shot as those guys.
I think we have a 6-driver clump right now.
Yeah.
And it's basically the way the point standings are working out is how I've got them though, but you got Keselowski, Truex, Hamlin, Harvick, Kyle Busch, and Joey Logano. I think that's the those are your 1A guys.
I
They're all
just
figured it out.
get this feeling that it's going to be a Keselowski or a Logano. It's going to be one of those guys that are
Penske
there,
guys, yeah.
but they haven't been dominating.
Yeah.
I mean, look at we had 3 guys dominate the season last year, and none of those 3 won the championship.
Well, Logano and Keselowski do this thing, and it's becoming very consistent where they get their wins early, and you don't hear from them. They're very quiet. Like Logano was really good last year, and he's your points leader right now.
Right.
And he's just been kind of sneaky, quiet. Everybody forgot he's the champ,
Mm-hmm.
and here he is, just kind of lurking around. And Brad is, Brad's dangerous anywhere we go.
Brad will come in and he'll win the first 3 races in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Just
he'll
out of
find a way.
nowhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just because he hasn't won in a while, you haven't heard from him in a little bit. But people forget he's got 3 wins already. He's racked them up. So
Yeah. So I think we're in agreement. So we say Kyle Busch, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, then Eric Jones, or is Jones ahead of Hamlin?
No, I got Jones lad. Jones is boy. Ask me in 5 weeks when Jones has 2 wins and a couple more top 5s.
Right.
I think it's coming, man. He's right there. He's on the cusp now.
I think there's a very good chance that we see Eric Jones qualify for the playoffs, make a decent playoff run, and move to a different team next year. But we'll get into that conversation later.
Man,
I would not be surprised to see that happen. But
I hope not. He better not. But we'll talk about it. We'll talk about
that. That's later in the show.
Let's talk about Pocono.
Yep, let's talk more about Pocono. We had some drivers ticked off at each other after the race.
Beautiful.
First of all, the one I was expecting, I watched it delayed, and I was clicking through at the end to see if there was going to be a fight on pit road with Kurt Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. After Busch ran Stenhouse wide and into the wall, and Stenhouse just hooked Busch and spun him down the backstretch.
Almost flipped McDowell. Yeah. We were thinking the same thing there.
Yeah. So nothing at all, nice and quiet at the track. Nobody said anything. And after the next day, Kurt does the most Kurt Busch tweet ever and posts, after sleeping on it, I've decided to take the high road with the Stenhouse incident. Hopefully he won't wreck me up there as well, which is beautiful. But Stenhouse replies, take the road on over if you really want to handle it. You have my number.
Oh my God.
So I listened to a little bit of the talk on NBCSN about this on NASCAR America. Here's my opinion. First of all, we joked before the podcast that we were going to pick who would be our pick in that fight.
Yeah, who we got?
But Kurt. I got Kurt.
Kurt's got is Kurt old guy tough?
Yeah,
at this point?
I think so.
Ricky does that CrossFit stuff though.
But here's the thing.
That's fake tough.
Kurt needs to get away from this because Kurt's in the playoffs.
I wouldn't want him at.
Kurt has a chance at a championship, and Ricky Stenhouse is a desperate boy, and he's got nothing to lose. So if Stenhouse gets a chance to wreck Kurt, he's going to wreck Kurt.
Does Ricky Stenhouse have any respect left in the Cup garage?
I don't know, man. I think he lost a lot of it with his girlfriend a few years ago, but
it's it's getting really thin for him. I feel like he's picking fights every week. He's wrecking dudes, and he's just you're right. You said the word. He is desperate.
He's not a happy guy right now. And I mean, when I talked to him at I don't remember. I think it was Chicago. He was kind of prickly sitting there chatting. I mean, I asked him about Daytona, and Daytona should be a track he's excited about, and he was pretty prickly with his answer. So, I don't know.
You got to think he's frustrated where he's at.
Well, they brought the old guy in this year to help Stenhouse, and the old guy's outrunning Stenhouse.
Yeah, it's the old NFL quarterback that comes in and kicks the rookies. But Stenhouse has been in that car for 7 years now, and maybe he thinks internally in his mind that if he was at Hendrick or Gibbs, that he'd be Kyle Busch.
Right, and I don't know that I agree with that, but he would be better.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. In his mind, that's probably where he thinks, and he's got to be frustrated just doing this, his whole career.
He's definitely a much better driver than the car that he's in.
Yeah, and that's been the case for a long time. But at this point, the way he's been driving, he's not earning any any credit to go further anywhere.
Yeah, you got something like Ross Chastain who's doing it in the lower series and
showing
what he can do in an underfunded, underpowered car. And I mean, Chastain's been, he's been mouthy too, and the whole I don't care if anybody likes me, I'm just going out there to win thing. And he had the little run in with Harvick last year in the Xfinity Series and didn't back down. But he's not coming across as somebody who's just wrecking people because they're trying too hard like Stenhouse is. like you said, he's doing it right, whereas Stenhouse isn't right now, I think. And so, I don't know. I think that just draws more attention to the way it's going for Stenhouse.
Oh
But
yeah, he's getting he's in the news and for all the wrong reasons. Like you said, he's picking fights. He's wrecking dudes.
the only thing Stenhouse has got going for him is nobody else going in that car. I mean,
Yeah, he's got a ride.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
got a ride.
he's the best.
I don't know,
He's probably the
yeah, I don't
best
know
driver
what he-
Roush is going to get to put in that car.
Yeah, unless you go get Chase Briscoe or somebody like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who else
Yeah, I
is in the Ford
suppose.
pipeline?
Yeah, Briscoe wouldn't be a bad choice.
But
I
there's
don't
not a
think
lot of- there's
Briscoe's
There's
got-
not a lot of guys.
Briscoe doesn't
Well,
have
right.
enough to do what he needs to do in that car either.
No, there's just not a pipe. There's not really a big Ford pipeline for a lot of guys.
Yeah,
Cole Custer's a Stewart Haas guy, and
you could put Kyle Busch in that car at Roush, and you could get top 10 finishes out of it every week. But most
yeah.
guys aren't going to come in there and do that with that car, I don't think.
and that car's and Stenhouse, to his credit, has been running better this year. It's just now he's just kind of
Yep.
he's going the wrong way.
So the other disagreement did happen on pit road. We had Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez a little. Well, I don't know if they were upset at each other. It kind of seemed like it was one-sided with Suarez upset. I don't know how much you've seen of this argument because you can't really hear much of what they're talking about. Did you hear what this was all about?
Yeah, they were just a little bit of it. What caught my attention though was Suarez kept putting his hands on Bubba,
Right.
and I really thought Bubba was going to attack him.
So the way it started is, and this is kind of assumption, but it's from Jordan Bianchi, who shot the video.
Yes,
He was on Jeff Gluck's podcast. Well, it's their podcast now this week. And Bianchi said that a lot of it came from Bubba flipped Suarez off. And Suarez was mad about it and thought Bubba was mad at him. That's why you keep hearing Bubba say in the video, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. Because Bubba flips everybody off. He flips his friends off. He just does it as a thing. It's just a goof that Bubba does. And Suarez took it the wrong way. Suarez was having a bad day and just wanted to get in Bubba's face about it. So it was a misunderstanding by the sounds of it.
Hopefully that's all it was.
Yeah.
Well, Suarez was what caution was he? He wasn't the last caution. Obviously, he was. Oh God, he was part of that Ryan Blaney spin.
Yeah,
was
I don't
that a little
remember.
earlier in the race? That was lap 100 or so.
I don't
somewhere
know.
along those lines.
This
But-
whole race is a blur for me.
Yeah, you've been busy, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's he was involved in that. He had smoke and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other things. So
And the whole Bubba Wallace giving his friends the finger sounds like a Bubba Wallace thing. I mean,
oh yeah,
it
that's
sounds
totally,
pretty legit.
yeah, totally Bubba Wallace.
Yeah. So those guys were upset with each other. Everything. I don't think you see any repeat of that. I think that one's over with.
Yeah, that'll be done.
Like-
They'll talk it out.
Kurt and Ricky could be fun. We'll see if Kurt can, Kurt just needs to ignore it. He just needs to go away. He didn't reply back on Twitter. He just needs to let things roll and move on. Be better than Stenhouse because right
Well,
now
Stenhouse
he is.
hopefully Stenhouse isn't stupid enough to do anything before the playoffs because he still could get a win somewhere.
But that's what I'm saying though, is that's why Busch doesn't need to get in this battle because when it
Exactly.
comes playoff time,
yeah, just leave him alone.
yep. So
Yep, let it be done.
You mentioned Eric Jones. Eric Jones with another spectacular day, finishes second place. Almost maybe could have tracked Denny down, possibly. Good day for him. Martin Truex Jr. finishes third. William Byron, fourth place finish. So good for
Yeah,
him.
he was creeping up there in that last restart.
Kyle Larson had one of the best cars all day, and Larson
Yeah,
was in a
hit
backup
the
car for
wall.
the second week in a row.
Yep, hit the wall late on that final restart and just faded from there, but still was able to manage top five. So that was a good day for him, and he was kicking himself pretty hard
Yep.
for that crash earlier in the week. So nice to see him, show that talent a little bit and get that top five because he was my pick to win the dang thing. So I was pretty ticked off at him too when he hit the wall, but he brought a fast piece again. Not as good as he was in June, but still a good run.
Kevin Harvick had the car to win if the strategy would have went the right way for him.
Yeah, he was good again.
Yeah, really good car. Led 62 laps.
Really think of the Gen X car.
Yeah, I like that car, and I love the fact that it was kind of a surprise, like just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, hey, we're running this paint scheme this week, and
It's a good looking car.
yeah, it was good. I liked it.
I like it better than the Millennium car.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I know you didn't like the Millennium car though, because
Yeah, me and the Millennial car don't get along. It's
Yeah.
all good. We're putting that in the past though.
yeah, you like the original, not so much the
Yeah, the OG Millennial car.
updated
Yeah.
version. But yeah, so Harvick, I mean, it was a really interesting strategy race because there were different drivers that were the car to beat depending on how the strategy was going to fall. And it was really a 3-driver race between you had Kyle Busch, who led 56 laps. You had Harvick, who led 62. You had Denny Hamlin, led 32. Those were pretty much the guys. Yep. And depending on how the strategy fell, it was going to be one of those three. They were all on kind of different strategies, and it just worked out for Denny in the end. Kyle Busch came out the worst with a 9th place finish, but that was
but he had a little trouble too.
Yeah,
he got buried back there.
Yeah, he was clawing to get that 9th place finish. Still got a top 10.
That
so
was,
good for him.
he came flying out of that restart. Made some spectacular moves heading into turn 1. I kind of watching his car on that last restart, and he darted from the outside to the inside at least twice and started making moves. So it was Kyle Busch on restarts is always one of the most fun things because he's incredible.
I'll tell you, these restarts at Pocono were what we've seen in restarts throughout the entire season. I'm starting to we probably could have gone without talking about the aero package, but I am starting to believe that we are seeing the potential of this package now, and we are starting to see these teams figure it out. That's why we're seeing crashes. That's why we're seeing spins. These guys now are learning where the limit is, and the reason that it wasn't as promising at the beginning as the Vegas test was when we originally saw it, and it kind of disappointed us at the beginning, was because these guys still were learning. And now we're getting it. Now we're going to tracks for the second time. Of course, Pocono is different with the PJ1, which I'm sorry. I think with this package, we need to have that PJ1 on just about every track that we run on.
Yeah, run that grip up high and
just gives you an option. If they don't, I know they're not going to because it's an ISC track, but if they don't put this stuff down at Michigan, man. If they put this at Michigan, you have a totally different race at Michigan.
Yeah, if you could run it just outside the groove to give them another lane.
Yep.
Just another lane off the bottom. Because that helped the restarts at Pocono with the, drivers knew they could fan out as far as they did, and they didn't have to funnel back into one spot. They could run that high line.
They were going 3 wide in a tunnel turn, for God's sake.
Incredible. Yeah, and that tunnel turn's no joke. Those guys are flying into that sucker. So
how about the 2 shots of the TV broadcasters, Jeff Burton and Mike Bagley, when the cars wrecked and they weren't looking at them, the reaction out of them? I thought those were great.
Yeah, that was good. I love Mike Bagley, man. He's so good.
Me too. Yeah. I didn't think the radio style broadcast quite lived up to.
No, it didn't work well on TV, but Mike Bagley is a shining star on that.
There was a lot of, it's Pocono.
It was clumsy.
Yeah, it was clumsy. It was very clumsy. There was a lot of repeating themselves. There was a lot of Rick Allen would set Bagley up and Bagley would say the same thing.
No, Dale Jr. said he doesn't like it, not his forte, and you could tell he wasn't enjoying it as much.
Yeah, for a road course it works. Indy, it kind of worked. I don't think it worked at Pocono, and I hope they don't try it at any other tracks. It's not going to work at other tracks either. Yeah. But it's cool. I still love that they give it a try and do it. Back to the finishing order, a couple more guys. Daniel Hemrick comes home with a 7th place finish. I'd say that's pretty much a win for those guys. Great finish for them.
He's there all day too. He was up front pretty much all day and in the top 15.
Yeah.
Great day for them.
We mentioned the impact in front of Jeff Burton. That was Chase Elliott, who finished 38th. Terrible day for Chase. Tried to knock the wall down in turn 3. Ryan Preece gets in the wreck as well. That was the other one. That was Bagley's wreck. 37th for him. Let's see. Anybody else toward the back that's a surprise? Kurt Busch comes home 27th. We talked about him a little bit.
Yeah, he had his
24th.
Trouble.
So.
Not really much. But shout out to Ryan Blaney though for getting a top 10 after he stuck it in the turn 3 wall.
Yeah,
not hard, but still damage is damage, and he was able to get a top 10 out of it.
Shout out to Jimmy Johnson for his this is crazy, his 2nd stage win
ever. Yeah,
that is insane.
And Kevin Mendering's last stage win, which we'll get into.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Looking at the points really quick, we got Eric Jones in 13th, Kyle Larson 14th, Clint Boyer 15th, and Ryan Newman in 16th. Jimmy Johnson just hanging on 17th place, or not quite hanging on. He's
12 out.
Yep, 12 out. Daniel Suarez, Paul Menard, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I'm gonna say I don't really expect much change here. I think this is what we got going in.
Yeah, I think Johnson will find a way. I still believe that he'll find a way in.
So who's coming out, Newman or Boyer?
Newman.
Think so?
Newman will fall. Yeah, I think Johnson will find a way, man.
I think if Johnson gets in, Boyer comes out.
Wow. Well, Boyer and Jones moved up, so they were 14th and 16th between the two of them, and they're
Yeah.
up to 13th and 15th now. But it's tight.
Yeah.
I think Jones is sitting pretty.
Jones is as long as
Larson too.
Jones just needs to get top 10s and he's in right now.
Yep. Larson needs to take it easy too, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's Kyle Larson, so
I know. We just don't know. That's why I like your pick of Boyer too, but I just think Johnson will get in there somehow. And who knows, Daniel Suarez could win Michigan and screw the whole thing up.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that would really put it in a tailspin.
it really would. But the way he's running lately, I'm not expecting
Yeah, I'm not
much
worried
out of
about
him.
it. Yeah.
I think the pressure's getting to him at this point.
And who knows, man? One of these guys can win the road course too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe Johnson should have won the Roval last time we were at that road course.
Jimmy's never won at Watkins
Never?
Glen.
Never won Watkins Glen. He has one win at Sonoma for his road course resume. So
Daniel Suarez is good on road courses, isn't he?
yeah, he might be good at Watkins Glen.
So-
Yeah. Something to keep an eye on.
All right. Let's talk some news, James. Big news of the week. We found out, was it yesterday, I think?
Yesterday,
Wednesday?
yeah, John. Yep.
Jimmy Johnson has a new crew chief.
Woo.
Kevin Mendering is gone. Cliff Daniels steps up. He's the engineer. Was the engineer since Sonoma. They were talking on Sirius XM that things just worked. They gelled right away, and he's there. So
That's Jimmy Johnson's call, right, Eric? That's if Johnson's not feeling the Kevin Mendering thing, he's booting him, right? Is that where that's coming from?
Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing. When I talked to Jimmy about Kevin at Michigan in June, you could tell that you
was
could
gonna say that.
tell that Jimmy was playing the politically correct, yes, things are great card.
We're still figuring it out.
Yeah. And even
Yeah.
Kevin
Wasn't too excited either.
you could tell that things just weren't working there. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing. This is one of those things. You come off of a career essentially with two guys together and put somebody new in. If it's not going to work in the first half of the season, you're going to change it. This is not something that you sit on for 3 years. Jimmy doesn't have time left to sit here and work with a new crew chief and get comfortable with a new crew chief. He needs a crew chief that's going to gel.
He's got a season and a half left in his career in my prediction. So
Yeah,
because I think next year's the farewell tour. So this is it. Like he's the window's closed here.
I'll be surprised if next year's the farewell tour. I think you got 2 more out of Jimmy.
I don't know, man. He signed that 2-year deal. It just seemed like it was it.
Yeah, true.
So
That's right.
I don't know.
forgot about that.
I don't know.
Last year felt like the farewell tour. So
Yeah, it's weird. Well, it was definitely the farewell tour for the pair. I just think it's crazy that Johnson went all those years with Canales and so much patience that they had. But the Kevin Mendering thing just didn't work. Didn't work, and there was no patience shown. You're not going to make it through the season with him. So
right.
Maybe Cliff Daniels is the guy. I don't know. Johnson's performance has not been bad since Sonoma.
No, it
He's
hasn't.
been running much better.
I mean,
He's got a couple of top fives lately too, so he's been running much better.
you don't want to be the rebound. I mean, you don't want to be the first guy after the
Canales,
7-time champ.
sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, I mean, Mendering
Yeah.
was set up for failure. He was.
I think we mentioned that in the podcast. I think you
We
said
may
that
have,
early in
yeah.
the season. Like, do you want to be that guy? Oof.
Nope, obviously not.
No, you don't.
Did they
No,
didn't even say where Mendering went, did they?
He's internal. He stays
Okay.
inside. Yeah, he's going to remain with Hendrick Motorsports. Just in a from what I was reading, a senior competition role.
I
So
noticed there was very little talk about him in the press release.
yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. Yeah.
Go ahead, and you've got another note in here on it with.
Well,
with Jim.
yeah. So I read Dustin Long, great writer for NBC.
We got a lot of stuff from Dustin Long this week. I like Dustin; he's a good guy.
Yeah, Dustin did a good job here. But from what I was reading, Jimmy just sounds like kind of lost in this article that Dustin wrote. He said he says he's questioning himself again in his quest to get wins and watching his teammates perform much better. And just in the article, Johnson's talking. Dustin quotes him a couple of times, and it just sounds like Jimmy's kind of meandering a little bit on. I question myself. Do I talk too much? Do I
Meandering.
overanalyze things?
No pun intended there, right?
Right? Yeah. But Jimmy has a lot of questions about himself, and is he doing too much? Is he not doing enough? And it's a good piece. We've linked to it in the show notes. But to me, it just sounds like he's lost. I don't know. Did you get the same feeling when you read this, kind of, or?
Yeah, I don't really have much discussion to add to it, but yeah, I mean, and just talking to him, just seeing him, I mean, he's in uncharted territory. This is not something he's used to dealing with.
Yeah.
And when you've gone from winning the races that he's won, I mean, remember he had a special helmet painted to commemorate his next milestone victory, and like the next week he won.
Yeah.
And he just went from that to
It's never
2
come
seasons without a win, and it's like, how does that switch happen? How does that work? I mean, everybody wins their last race.
Yeah.
And I don't think Jimmy's won his last race, but everybody does it at some point.
He'll get
It's
another
just
one.
so crazy to see it just shut off like this.
Yeah, I think it's more surprising for us because we have held Jimmy in such high regards, and he's
Right.
dominated the sport like nobody else for so
We
long.
hated Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson
Oh, we
ruined
did, yeah.
NASCAR.
He did.
Between the economy and Jimmy Johnson, they are the reason
Yeah.
that we lost fans in this sport.
Yeah, he dominated it too hard.
People got sick of seeing vanilla Jimmy Johnson win races and win freaking 7 championships in a matter of what,
Yeah.
9 seasons or whatever he did it in.
Yeah, 5 for 5, and
Yeah.
then 2 more, snuck in 2 more there. It's funny, we never want to see the aging hero fade away, or arch hero, or whatever Jimmy is.
Right.
He's a hero now. When he won
He
that
is.
stage,
Oh,
fans
God.
were crazy.
Place will go crazy when he wins a race.
And he'll win. He will. But we could see, what's funny is we could see the writing on the wall with Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart. Tony broke his leg and had other issues, and he was done.
Yep.
Dale Jr. had the concussions, and that was it. He faded away. We just didn't see it with Jimmy. He's never had any health issues or anything. It's just the performance has just disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's tough to see
But
it. He
the
looks
thing-
like I was just gonna say, he looks like when a superstar changes teams now,
Right.
and he's in a weird, he's like he's aged near 40, and he's got a different jersey on. That's what I feel like Jimmy looks like. He's got this different. There's no lows. He just doesn't look like Jimmy.
The thing is that we have to remember is Jimmy, up until this, has never had a lull. He's never had
in his whole career. No,
He's never had one of these. But
from the start,
your champions always do.
they do.
You know, look at Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt, people thought he was done, and then he came back and started winning races, and was able to get that 7th championship. He was winning races again, or he won Talladega the year before he died, and was obviously in position to almost win Daytona. High expectations that season going into it. Jeff Gordon had a big lull towards the end of his career.
Yeah, and bounced back.
Yeah.
Gordon had a resurgence at the end
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was really incredible.
So, Jimmy's put the lull toward the end, but who knows how close to the end we are. We say 2-year contract, Jimmy comes out and starts clicking off. Clicks 3 races off this year, wins 3 races. You're looking at a completely different Jimmy Johnson for next season,
Right.
And with this system, I'll say it again, Jimmy's out of the playoffs right now. All he needs is a win.
Yeah,
and
he'll be
he's
fine.
in it, and he could win the championship this year.
He was almost in the when was the Roval? That would have put him in the round of 8.
Yeah.
If he had won the Roval, and or if he had just finished second and not crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was not that far. His performance has been down even before he won that 7th championship. His performance has been way down, but he's still he's still good enough to punch his way in.
Yep.
And that's why I can't see him not making it. I think he'll find a way.
I spent way too much of my life doubting Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore around here.
Yeah,
We've said that before. We're not doing it.
I think
don't care.
I think it was the 4th championship that I said, never again am I going to bet against Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. Ain't gonna happen, man. You ain't gonna get me to do it anymore. That dude's beaten me too many times.
So we got some news at Pocono this weekend, which came as a surprise to me. I don't know why. It made a lot of sense that we got it at Pocono this weekend. We got to look at what we're going to see a little bit next season for the doubleheader at Pocono. So tentative schedule, according to Jayski, this is from Pocono Raceway. We would run Thursday. We'd run ARCA practice and qualifying and the ARCA race. Friday, Cup Series practice, NGOTS practice, which is the Truck Series guys. And then Cup Series qualifying. Saturday, we'd run Xfinity practice, the truck race, which would be 200 miles, 80 laps. which actually is longer than the current one because I believe they were only 150 this week at Pocono. But anyway, and then the Cup race, number 1, TBD for distance. No mention yet on the distance for Saturday. However, Sunday we'd run the Xfinity Series qualifying, a 225-mile Xfinity Series race, and a 350-mile Cup Series race on day 2.
It'll be 350 and 350. It's got to be.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
So single car qualifying for the Cup Series, and then they would invert the lead lap cars for the second race, which is very interesting. So after Pocono's race, Dustin Long, as we mentioned, is mentioned a couple times in the podcast tonight, he tweeted out, so if Sunday's race would have been race number 1, Denny Hamlin would start race 2 in 25th place.
Yes.
Michael McDowell, 25th place finisher, would start on the pole for race number 2. He also notes that next year's race at Pocono would be 50 miles shorter, so there may be even more cars in the lead lap. I like this. I love this invert. This is excellent.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing us do this every week. Let's get rid of qualifying.
Based on the previous week's finishes.
Yeah, let's scrap qualifying altogether and just invert the lead lap cars.
I love it.
Everybody's locked in anyway. We've talked about how qualifying doesn't mean anything. I've always hated. I mean, I understand the point of qualifying and having the fastest car up front, but I like seeing the fast guys in the back. And then with this, you can't sandbag.
Yeah,
I
love it. Yeah, this is as local grassroots short track style as it gets.
Yep.
The field inversion, man, that's the best.
Yep. Now, if they did this consistently, and even for this race, I guarantee you that Chad Knaus finds a way to exploit this next year.
Yeah, he would. Yeah.
If there's anybody who's going to figure out a way to do it, it is Chad Knaus.
Yeah, you just know that you got a good piece for the second race and finish 25th in the first one.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is they'll use the same car both races with some of the talk. They'll obviously have a backup car that they can switch to if they need to, and would be allowed to change a motor between races, but a lot of the drivers, because of the sealed motor rule, would likely use the same motor for both races.
That second Pocono race has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting.
Yep, it will be.
Yeah, I love that.
So, hey, we got a little bit of a glimpse. Eric Jones, we talked about him. Contract still not done. There was talk. Joe Gibbs was asked about it in the post-race press conference. I did not pull the audio, but Gibbs was pretty coy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot to say. Said sponsorship's playing a big deal in it, that he's been keeping Jones updated. Did not commit one way or the other. And I think that every bit of information I've seen on this from anybody who has any knowledge in the matter points to Eric Jones not coming back next season.
That's terrible.
I agree.
Don't
100%.
do it.
So here's the thing. First of all, Joe Gibbs cannot continue to be the team that brings a guy in,
You can't punt
young
on
kid,
Taylor all the time. Yeah.
gives him 2 years to have a chance, and then boots him for the next new kid. That never. But here's the deal: Joe Gibbs has never done a good job of developing talent.
Nope.
Show me the last driver that Joe Gibbs developed well.
Denny Hamlin's the only one.
That's it. They didn't develop
That's
Kyle
it.
Busch. Kyle Busch was winning at Hendrick. He got the boot
Hendrick
because of his
Motorsports.
attitude.
Yep.
He got the boot because of his attitude and Dale Jr. Otherwise, Kyle Busch,
Yeah. Tony Stewart was a rookie, but he was also an IRL champion.
There was
from
no
there.
developing Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart was a winner.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess maybe he's the second best argument to Denny Hamlin. But other than
That's
that,
it, yeah.
let's look at the young talent that's gone through
JJ
JGR.
Yaley, Jason Leffler was there for a hot second. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Bobby Labonte was there, but Bobby Labonte was a veteran. Dale Jarrett was a veteran. Well, I mean, becoming a veteran at that point. And that was the whole building of the team and everything. So that doesn't count. Joey Logano, obviously the best story of anybody.
Yeah. Yep. Carl Edwards came in and won races. Matt Kenseth.
Yeah. These guys that came in were already winners when they came in. So.
Yeah. And Martin Truex Jr. is the next one. That's he's in. It's winning already. So.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't keep kicking the kids out. I know Christopher Bell has potential, but Eric Jones is younger than Christopher Bell, and he's better. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think
he is.
better.
Here's the thing. Christopher Bell is a great driver. He's a great talent. But tell me when the last time was. First of all, we're bringing in rookies way younger than we used to. But tell me when who was the last rookie that came in and set the world on fire? Who was the last rookie that came in winning?
Johnson?
I was going to say it's got to be Jimmy Johnson, right?
Yeah, that's about it. That's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. I'm trying to think.
Everybody else has taken a couple years.
Casey
I think got a win in his first season.
Yeah, that's about it. Stewart's one of the great. Stewart and Johnson are the great rookies of all time.
But again, Stewart doesn't count. Stewart was a winner already.
Exactly.
Stewart is a different animal. Stewart is the AJ Foyt story, you know?
Yeah.
And not to say that it was easy for Stewart, because it's not easy to come over from open wheel, but I mean, Stewart had the talent, and Stewart's one of those guys that wins in everything. He
drove everything. Yeah. Win anything.
So, that's just not how it works anymore. Look at William Byron. I mean, he set the world on fire in the lower series and comes to Cup, and he's done nothing. And that's not to say anything bad about William Byron. He's learning.
He's getting better, and he's in a good spot.
I mean, Kyle Larson, again, is arguably the best driver we've seen come up with the most potential, and Kyle Larson's not setting the world on fire still.
Nope. We're still waiting for Kyle Larson.
Yep. So, and that's another strike against Joe Gibbs. So don't go betting the farm on the young kid, especially if you're not going to develop him.
Yeah, don't let Eric Jones go. I think that's such a huge mistake.
It is. But so here's the other problem. Toyota is in a situation where they don't have enough good cars in the Cup Series to put somebody in.
Yep.
Toyota is developing these guys, but they have nowhere to put them. They've got Gibbs, and that's it. Yes, Levine Family Racing has a car, but I mean, first of all, it's not a great option. Second of all, Matt DiBenedetto says he's not going anywhere, which of course isn't his choice.
Yep.
But
Bob Levine did tweet that he's looking at a second car.
Yeah, Toyota could really.
But he said it's not serious. So.
Toyota needs to put some money in and get another team. Whether they pull a team in, I mean, you got. I don't know. You try to get Penske.
Well, I'd say Childress is one of them.
Yeah, Childress would be a good one.
You know,
I mean, look at one of these teams look at Roush.
Richard Petty.
Roush would never leave Ford, right? Yeah, Richard.
Nah, Roush would never leave Ford.
I mean, Toyota could put some money behind a team possibly, and get some more seats to put drivers in, or help fund a startup team or something. I mean.
Yeah, there's not a lot of space, man.
No,
it's just not there.
There's not, and so
Stewart-Haas ain't going anywhere. They've just signed with Ford. They put too much time into Ford.
There's no reason Stewart-Haas is the Ford team right now. I mean, no offense to Penske, but Stewart-Haas isn't changing. Toyota's or JGR is not going anywhere with Toyota. Obviously, Hendrick's still the Chevy team. Those teams are staying. So I don't know. You got Chip Ganassi too. You know.
Yep. Yeah, Joe Gibbs. Ganassi wouldn't be a bad idea.
No,
and he runs Fords for his sports car program. Yeah. So that's just something to think about. He's not really loyal to any one manufacturer, really.
Right. Now this is completely shooting in the dark, because there's no talk whatsoever about any of these teams switching manufacturers. But
no.
Money talks, though. You know,
we know about a manufacturer switch by now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. This is not something that would be coming.
Yeah, we would have known about that for a long time.
But that limits the options as to where Christopher Bell's going. I mean, he either goes to a Levine car or Jones gets the boot, and I honestly think I think you're going to see Jones go.
Jones better not get the boot, man. I'm going to be furious.
The interesting thing would be if Jones goes, does Toyota have him wrapped up to where he can only go to a Toyota, or is he going to be a free agent?
Yeah, I'd be furious if Jones.
And then if he's a free agent, who grabs him?
I think Stewart-Haas would jump on it.
Think so?
Yeah, they've already got room for two.
Yeah.
You could bring in Jones, and you'd be in really good shape.
Wherever Jones goes, somebody is going to get a heck of a driver, and they're going to get a winner.
Yep.
They're going to get a champion.
You're going to get Joey Logano 2.0. Yep. You're going to get that type of talent.
Yep. But I'm sorry. I will be very surprised. I don't think Jones is as marketable as Bell is.
Not right now, and it depends, like Joe Gibbs said, about what the sponsors want.
Right. That's the thing. The sponsors are going to determine it. So. Yeah. I think that you see Christopher Bell take that car next year.
I'm still saying Jones stays, but I'm not as confident.
So what does Bell do? You keep him in Xfinity another year, or you put him in Levine?
You can't keep him in Xfinity another year.
You can't. I mean, you're wasting your time with him now.
Yeah, it's got to be either the Levine or I don't know. I don't know what you do with him.
Man.
It's like Richard Childress. I saw today. He said they don't know what to do with Tyler Reddick. It's either a Cup car or he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
So sounds like he's a free agent too.
Right.
So that's another really talented guy. You know,
Yeah, we're gonna get to a point where there's gonna be too many talented guys and not enough rides.
he's the defending champ in Xfinity.
Yep.
So
yeah, and we've got some talent coming up in the Xfinity series. You've got people like Ross Chastain or talent come up in the Truck Series. I mean, you got Ross Chastain who's setting things on fire, and
yeah, poor Tyler Reddick, man. He's done everything.
Yeah.
He's run one for Keselowski. He's one for JR. Now he's with Childress.
mm-hmm.
Man,
he's one that he's kind of got the Brett Moffitt thing going, where he'll be a winner, and then he loses his ride as the winner. You know?
I know.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
a weird spot, but that's the way it is here.
We talked a little bit last week. NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series got its television debut. They were on NBCSN during NASCAR America last week. I got to catch some of it. I thought it was a pretty good broadcast. From my understanding, that it was a great finish, which is even better.
It was, yeah.
Pretty cool. I mean, I showed it to my wife because she was laughing about it, and she just doesn't buy into this whole NASCAR thing and esports thing. But, I told her, I said, you look at it and tell me, can you tell that it's not a real race? The broadcast looks the same. The cars look, I mean, it's hard to tell. It's really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see more of this stuff in the future. I'd watch it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Kay and Jeff Gluck are on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff caught a lot of hell about his about his esports commentary. Poor guy.
Yeah. Jeff's doing fine. I'm not worried about Jeff.
No.
He's got it good over there at The Athletic now.
Yeah.
Speaking of catching hell on Twitter.
Oh, this is good.
So Steve O'Donnell rips on Nick Bromberg on Twitter. So at the end of the Cup race, coming to the line, Rick Allen makes a comment about Eric Jones trying to catch Denny Hamlin to get his first win in the Cup Series, which, of course, Eric Jones got his first win in the Cup Series last year at Daytona. Allen says afterwards on Twitter, he says he was watching Byron behind him that got stuck in his head and made a mistake. Of course, Bromberg called him out on it because that's what Bromberg does, is call out everybody and look for anything negative he could possibly say. The world, or NASCAR's biggest Twitter troll, maybe behind Dale Jr. And so Steve O'Donnell tweets, "Rick, don't apologize. All he does is knock everyone on a keyboard, and it is apparently mistake-free in life. Keep being you, Rick." And I saw this was very polarizing on social media. People either hated Nick Bromberg or couldn't believe that an executive with NASCAR would bash somebody in the media. So where do you stand on this, James? I know you're a big Nick Bromberg fan.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I don't know if I'm taking any sides here. I think it's hilarious. But didn't Bromberg just tweet what we were all thinking? Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we were all, when we heard Allen's mistake, we all thought what Nick said.
Right.
But then again, Nick is a troll.
But there's certain things you just don't need to say though too. Like, he screwed up. The second that Allen said it, he knows he screwed up.
Right.
I mean, maybe other people everybody's been in that situation. Everybody's been in that situation where you say something stupid and you realize the second you said it that you're wrong. Now imagine doing that in front of millions of people.
Right.
Like,
yeah, he screwed up.
I mean, there were a lot of mistakes actually like that in the broadcast on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
More than normal probably. And you just, whatever, you move on. But Nick doesn't move on from anything because if it could possibly be something negative about NASCAR and maybe get him some retweets, he will certainly post it.
But then again, if Nick doesn't comment on that, how many people are going, well, where's Nick's comment?
Well, I don't disagree, but I think
Nick would have caught that, right?
I think Nick is the problem with NASCAR and social media right now.
Oh my God.
He is though, man. He is. This is why I don't understand what, and he has the right to do what he's doing. He totally has the right to do what he's doing. And I only see his tweets because I follow him on Twitter to see his tweets. And I enjoy some of his tweets. I laugh at some of his tweets. I agree with some of his tweets. I retweet some of his tweets. But you hate the negativity. You
I
hate the
do.
negativity. You get so mad. You don't like social media because of all the
I do.
negativity, but you thrive on this guy.
I don't know why.
He's like
I
the
can't help
king of the negative people.
that, and that might be it.
The only thing
That
is
might
he's
be
got
it.
the only difference between him and the rest of the negative people is his arguments are actually intelligent.
Yes, and that's.
I mean,
that's
that
part
is
of
the
it.
thing. He is
that's
not
part
a
of it.
stupid negative person. He is
No.
very smart. He has his facts straight. And I'm sorry, no offense to the people that work in NASCAR and work in all these organizations, work in the TV networks. He apparently knows a lot more stuff than they do too.
He does know a lot of this stuff, but that's what makes him great. Is he hits him with facts, but he's
Yeah.
also a really good wrestling heel.
He is.
You can't be a good wrestling heel and not know your stuff. And he knows what he's doing.
And that's why I follow him, because if
And
I
that's
didn't
why
follow him, I wouldn't get pissed off every week when he tweets something that
yes,
pisses me off.
I know. And Nick's not I mean, we probably wouldn't be friends in real life, but he makes me laugh. He makes me laugh, man.
Nick, if you happen to stumble across this little podcast, I don't hate you, man. You drive me insane, but
We can't stop following.
I'm also not telling you to stop doing what you're doing. But on the same note, I have zero issue with Steve O'Donnell calling him out. Go for it, Steve.
Yeah, Steve's a troll in his own right, by the way.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Steve is a high up executive at NASCAR, but Steve is a Twitter personality as well. He has made himself a Twitter personality, and that gives him the right to do this sort of thing. This is not out of character for him.
Right.
I'm fine with it. So
I just think it's hilarious too that the very same week that we had this brilliantly written Ryan McGee piece.
oh my God. Yeah. How did we not include that in the notes?
We have this great. I know we should probably put the link in there. This great piece about how Steve Phelps is trying to save NASCAR from Ryan McGee, and then we've got in our notes Steve O'Donnell ripping Nick Bromberg on Twitter.
Now, if you guys don't know James very well, you aren't a fan of the podcast, you may not realize that James worships the ground that Ryan McGee walks on.
Yeah, Marty
however,
and McGee are my boys.
However, there is good reason for that because Ryan McGee is awesome. So
He is him and Marty are the best storytellers that we have in our sport.
yeah, I'm not even going to tell you what article we're talking about. Just go on Google and search Ryan McGee and read one of his articles.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter which one.
Yeah,
If it's NASCAR related. I mean, if it's not NASCAR related, it's great too, but
yeah, NASCAR, baseball, college football, the dude spins a tale, and he's really good at it.
he's half the reason that I want to read Dale Jr.'s book.
Yeah, he wrote it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, let's see. I think that's all the news, right?
I think we got through it, man.
Yeah. All right. Good. All right. Let's preview this weekend. We got a couple races to preview. We're going to start with the Cup race. It is the Go Bowling at the Glen at Watkins Glen International Raceway, or whatever they happen to call it now. We got back on the road course. I don't care because road courses have sucked since stage racing, so I'm not even going to get excited about the fact that it's a road course race. I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope it's spectacular. So, James, you get the first pick. Before you pick, I want to note that we joke that is Daniel Suarez good at road courses? He has the best average finish at Watkins Glen.
Yep.
He's only run 2 races there, but he has two top fives. So
yeah, very good.
All right, who's your pick?
I'm gonna reach out on a limb for my pick this week because I think it's time. Last year, Chase Elliott broke through. This year, Eric Jones is gonna break through. He's gonna get that win.
That's a good pick. It's a really good pick. Eric Jones also second best on average finish. He only has 1 top 5 though, 2 top 10s.
2 top 10s, average finish 7.5, average starting position 7.5. So he's good there.
I am going to go even more out on a limb than you, and I'm just going to pick Kyle Busch this weekend.
That's a solid choice.
Yeah, Kyle's
14,
been a couple
races,
weeks.
12 top 10s.
Yeah, he's a couple of weeks that he hasn't won a race, so it's time for him to win again.
Yeah.
Dark horse pick. I'm not going to pick Suarez as dark horse because I think if he's the best average finish there, it's kind of cheating to pick him as the dark horse.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go with him. Let's see. Ryan Newman.
There you go.
Yeah,
Is he the dark horse every week?
no
Do we just
pick-
leave him on the list?
Yeah, probably.
One of us is picking him.
No real reason. Just Ryan Newman.
Yeah, just Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man.
There you go.
I will go. I'm surprised he's not better. I was looking at Michael McDowell, and usually he's kind of a road course guy, but I'm not going to pick him because I thought he'd be a little bit better than that. Man, this is tough.
I know the dark horses are becoming separated further and further.
Well, they're hard on the road courses too.
Yeah.
Man, I'll go just because he's in good equipment, a little bit better equipment than he's run in the past. I'll go Matt DiBenedetto.
Okay.
And I think, didn't he have a really nice run at Sonoma? Top 10, top 5?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, he did. He was a top 5.
So-
I think he finished like 3rd there, didn't he?
Yeah, so I'll go.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
go
a
there.
really good pick, actually. That's an excellent pick. I'm sorry I missed that one. All right, so Watkins Glen, really not much else to say there. Next year we need to run the boot, guys. Let's get that together.
Hashtag run the boot.
Run the boot. Meanwhile, we have one of the best NASCAR races of the entire season coming up this week. And I'm bummed because I will not be there for the first time in the history of its running. We have what it is, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th annual Eldora Dirt Derby.
I cannot believe it's been 7 years.
The Camping World Truck Series returns to the dirt at Eldora. We have never had a repeat winner at Eldora. First winner, inaugural race, Austin Dillon. Bubba Wallace takes it the second year. Christopher Bell. Kyle Larson finally gets the win in the 4th year. Matt Crafton powers through and gets a win in the 5th season. Chase Briscoe battles with Grant Enfinger to the line, takes the win by just a couple inches last season in the Dirt Derby. Briscoe will be back this year to try to become the first 2-time winner of the race. I believe him and Crafton are the only 2 who have the opportunity to do it this weekend.
Yeah, I don't see anybody else.
We are Thursday night this year instead of
Wednesday.
Instead of Wednesday night. So yep.
And they moved it later in the year.
Yes.
A couple weeks.
Yep, couple weeks later. They have also made it much, much, much tougher for a Cup Series driver to attempt the race now,
which sucks.
Yeah, but I think it changes up next season again with the new schedule. So I think this is one of the races in that summer stretch or whatever that we have the independent races. So it might fix itself next year. I can't remember.
And who's the guy? Man, I don't want to put you on the spot. Who's the guy running the 54 truck? He's a modified ringer.
I don't know.
Oh my God, what's his name?
I don't know. So Decker's not racing?
I don't think so.
Natalie Decker lost her ride for this race? That's too bad.
Why would?
That's too bad. I feel for her.
Oh man, it's filibuster for me because I look up the entry list.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing because I had my pick figured out, and I was going to actually give you the first pick because I was down between 2 guys.
Remember when Scott Bloomquist came? Was that the first year or the second year when we were there?
I think it was the second year, and he decided he was going to pull the rear sway bar off of it because he knows so much about dirt racing, and just failed.
He was so bad.
So bad. Oh, I remember who my pick is. Okay. Do you want first pick, James? I have myself down for first pick, but I'll give you first pick.
You go ahead and pick it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with what my original pick was going to be, and I talked to this driver after the race at Kentucky, I think it was, and he'd really like a chance to win here. He has finished second here, I think, at least once, maybe a couple times. He's run really well this season, and he had a terrible day at Pocono, crashing on lap number 1. He needs a win to get in the playoffs. I'm going Stuart Friesen to get his very first Truck Series win on the dirt at Eldora.
Me and Stuart Friesen don't get along. We don't. We have political differences.
He's your Paul Menard, isn't he?
He's up there, yeah. He's up there. So just for clarification, Kyle Strickler.
Yes, Kyle Strickler, the dirt tickler.
Dirt. Yeah,
that's his nickname, man. He's the dirt tickler, Kyle Strickler.
He's running
all
the
those dirt track guys have nicknames, man. I didn't realize that Strickler was running that car.
Yep, Kyle Strickler is running for not. It's under DGR Crosley as the organization, not.
It's been DGR Crosley. That's who Decker races for too.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's been DGR. I believe they have support from KBM.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
because that 54 was a staple at Kyle Busch for a long time. I got confused there for a minute.
And then I'm assuming Carson Hokovar driving Jordan Anderson's truck is likely a dirt ringer as well.
Yeah, I've not heard of him.
I'm looking down the list here. Colt Gilliam in the number 8 Nemco Motorsports truck potentially.
Well, that ringer Jennifer Jo Cobb's going to be racing.
Well, there's a caution. Jennifer Jo Cobb, I think, set the record for number of cautions that one driver has brought out at Eldora before.
Oh my God.
That was a few years ago. I think that was when you were still going. She spun like every other
Oh, yeah.
lap. It was pretty
And
rough.
I was there at the John West Townley era as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Anyway, keep stalling, James. Who are you picking?
yeah, man, I really want to pick Harrison Burton, but he's not ready.
No.
So I will go with Ross Chastain
That's a good pick.
because he's been the best truck driver on the season. That's pretty much my only argument for it.
You and I both left last year's second place finisher by a few inches off the table.
Did.
And Matt Crafton, man, Matt Crafton's gonna be tough. Crafton was
He's
not
gonna
a dirt guy. Yep.
Yep, he's gonna hug the bottom all night.
He was not a dirt guy, but the year he won it, he started racing the dirt modified and learned some stuff, and now he's good there.
What about Storm and Norm Benning?
Well, he's not gonna win, but he's gonna be fun to watch.
Fun to watch. That was our introduction. So so just a quick story for all of our listeners. Eric and I went to the first when it was the Mud Summer Classic, and I'm still going to refer to it as the Mud Summer Classic.
I know. Even if we get Eldora sued, that's okay. It's worth it.
Yeah. We were so excited to go, and we watched practice, and we didn't know what we were going to expect. We thought they were going to wad up.
That first time, we're just waiting for those trucks to get on the track that first time.
Yeah, it's a memory I'll cherish forever. It was so great.
Yeah.
But our real introduction to what that track could do with the trucks was Norm Benning.
Yep.
In his 57 red Chevrolet Silverado. And who was the driver that he was door slamming?
Clay Greenfield.
Clay Greenfield, thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
we met him at the Tweet Up
Yep.
that day. And that was, holding him off to make the qualifying position. And it was on from there. Yep.
Just that day, we saw practice, and there were so many spins.
A 2-day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The first day was all practice, and then the second day was practice and racing and all that stuff, qualifying. And, we watched practice, and everybody, there were spins like crazy. And this was the first time you'd ever seen a NASCAR race where they just, instead of throwing the red flag when somebody spun, they just threw the caution because everybody was spinning. So they'd spin, they'd throw the caution, everybody drive around slow, they'd straighten it out, they'd go again. And so we're expecting we're going to race, and this is just going to be a mess. And so we get out, of course, this race we run heat races for. It's the only race that we run heat races for. And the first heat comes out, and they drop the green flag, and nobody knows what to expect. And it worked. Like, the racing was good. There were good battles. I don't think there was a single caution in the first one. And we're like, holy crap, this might actually work. And then we get through all the heat races. We get the last chance race. We get that spectacular moment. We're just pumped for this race. And somehow, man, this thing pulled off and was arguably the best NASCAR race I think I've ever seen in person.
Yeah, me too.
And there has not been a dirt derby that has disappointed yet. This race has been probably the best race all season long, every year. If you guys don't watch the Truck Series, watch this one race. It's worth watching. And we're going to be talking, I guarantee you, next weekend on the podcast, we're going to be talking, should we run a cup race on dirt? Because that's going to be the conversation, because it is
be all
every
over serious.
Year.
Yep. Be all over serious. And
my answer is yes.
Yeah.
Do it.
It worked.
Let's do it, man. Get it over with.
The truck guys figured out, and I know the race has lost a little bit of its luster, but it's
not what it was the first year. And it's not, you don't go there with, you go there with the expectations now that these guys are going to be able to do it. So it's not as mystifying as it used to be.
We landed on the moon.
Yeah.
And now, we continue to land on the moon every year, basically, is the way I think of it.
Yep.
It's still an amazing feat that we pull this thing off, and it's still a spectacular race every time, but it just doesn't have that first time feeling. But man, I look forward to it every year. It's right there. It's my favorite race, I think. It's right. It's one of them.
I might not even get to watch it live this year.
Well, you're really slacking, dude.
I know. I'm bummed, man. I'm bummed. Too much stuff going on in real life right now.
Yep. That's all right. You can enjoy it with me on the TV this year.
There you go. All right. So we got Watkins Glen for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series this weekend. Truck Series is at Eldora. Let's should we hit on fantasy real quick, James? I sucked.
I was good.
You were good. Hey, you got second place.
I did.
Nice.
Not bad. Not a bad week for me.
Ranger Runyon gets the win. Freight Train 295 and Hurricane Dick tied for third. I was fifth. I guess it doesn't suck, but it's the back half. Justin 713 and Scoters comes home in last. Let's look at the overall real quick. James, you're ahead of me again.
Yeah, we are flip-flopping.
Yep.
It ain't pretty, but there we are.
We're holding down 5th and 6th. Ranger Runyon pulling away. We need to slash his tires or something.
Yeah, playoffs are
going
coming,
on.
dude.
Yep.
We're coming for you.
Justin 713, Freight Train 295, Hurricane Ditka, Smoky Comeback, The KB Show, and Scoters. Those are our top 7
There it is.
in the league. James, where can they find you on social media if they want to like tweet with you during the Eldora truck race or something?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at T Super Speedway on Twitter. Please don't send me spoilers during the truck race because I will probably be watching it later in the evening. Can't watch it much later in the evening because it's already pretty late. I don't care. Send me spoilers. I won't be checking Twitter anyway. Facebook, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/thesuperspeedway. You can find us on thesuperspeedway.com. The podcast can be found there. You can find show notes, links to all the articles we talked about, all of that stuff. I'll have coverage from Michigan coming up here in a couple weeks, really soon, coming quick. There's also some articles and stuff from past races that I did this season and beyond. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud, wherever you found it today. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen. If you really like what you hear, you want to become a part of the show, want to help support us, become a patron at patreon.com/thesuperspeedway. Anything else, James? Did I miss anything?
Shout out to Ben Rhodes and that 99 truck.
Oh, that
at
was
Pocono.
awesome. That was a good looking truck.
Oh, Texaco. Well, it's not Texaco Hamlin anymore, but
Right.
Hamlin. Seeing the Hamlin colors back.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Good
I got all
looking
the feels. I got all the feels, man.
Yeah, I did skip over shout outs. Shout out to Dale Jr.'s podcast once again. Chase Elliott on it this week. I only listened to part of it, but so far so good. I got to hear about Dale Jr. farting in the booth. So that was good. And the time that he had to jump out of the car on the side of the road and jump over the guardrail and crap on the side of the road. So, yeah. If you want
That's the kind of quality product you get. Dale Jr. download.
If you want to learn about Dale Jr., that is the way to do it.
Incredible.
All right, we go dirt track racing and road course racing this weekend. It's all non-traditional this week. Should be a lot of fun. We'll be back next week to talk about it and preview the Camping World or Gander Outdoors Truck Series and Cup Series races at Michigan, and I believe the Xfinity Series are on the road course next weekend as well. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.